Hello friends and welcome to the final week of the NECC fall season for 2023. It's Rocket League time, it's Friday time, it's Relic and Galgan time, and a special shout out to Grissom today, handling both production and observing. Heavy workload, please give him all of your love. And plenty of Rocket League action to love today, fingers crossed, Galgan. 4 matches once again. We apologise that we are a little bit late for our first one, but it just means that the breaks between this first series and the second series will be just a little bit shorter.
It surely does. Rocket League is still Rocket League, whether late or not. Better late than never, and better late than never indeed for this first matchup. We head first to the Emergence East Great Lakes, a team that we've seen before on this second stream. I know personally we have. Fanshawe Fuel Academy Red this time. We saw a little bit of both some weeks ago. The Fanshawe Fuel Academy Black roster just a little bit higher on the table here, but right below this red side of the Fanshawe Fuel Academy, it is Queen's Tricolour, a good old-fashioned Canadian showdown, an Ontario showdown here for these squads, very close on the table. Game differential is exactly the same despite the difference in records, slightly favoring Fanshawe here, but sure to be a fantastic series.
Yeah, these first 2 series are very much, Canada, in a year where they actually qualify for the World Cup for the first time through CONCACAF. They didn't get a freebie pass or anything. It's definitely a great day to be a Canadian Rocket League fan. Let's head on into this first series as quickly as we can, shall we? Because we've got 2 teams who are actually going right up against each other, not just in terms of pride, Galgan, but in terms of potential promotion once we hit that winter season. Fanshawe Red on 5 and 2, Queen's Tricolour on 4 and 3. Both have seen forfeits throughout the season go in their favour. Both have seen some sweeps. Both have seen some game 5s. I wonder which way this is going to go.
The true spectrum of results all over the place for these 2 squads, but looking for decisive results here in this series, well within the first minute of play as well, and not too much has shaken out just yet, although opportunities ring off the side, and right as I say it, not Leopard here for Fanshawe. Strikes first, deep in the box, solid pressure, good counter right off that midfield pressure, everything you want from an opening goal.
And not Leopard, perhaps one of the most handicapped players in the entirety of the NECC. Bless this man, he is deaf, and removing that auditory sensor of where the ball is, where your teammates are, maybe who's going to be boosting behind you. That's a huge part of Rocket League that you are removing from your overall game. So for him to be the first scorer especially, and we know that he has scored many goals indeed over the case of this season, it just once again shows just how complete a player he is without that sense.
Indeed. This one continues on here. More opportunities for Fanshawe present themselves. Certainly looking to get off to the stronger start here. We know this squad to be a very, very competent one as well, but centered up yet again. Plu will get us going for Queen's Tricolour. A nice centering pass as well from Horizon out through the corner. Very, very fortunate. Bounce falls right into the lap, and Cleanies are like, we're all square yet again. I have a feeling this is going to be a recurring theme, Relic. We're not really going to get too far into decisive territory for either team.
We realize that Captain Atsoka and Pyro J are helming the second half of our broadcast today. And I tell you what, looking at the 4 matches that you got lined up, folks, this one definitely has the smell of one of the better ones. As I say, both of these teams will be looking towards the Navigators division next season, I should say, in the winter, and thinking, wow, maybe we have a chance to step up here. But the first step up that they require is a go-ahead goal once again. Plu towards net. Bean Zeus with the save.
Scooter comes through. Queens looking for some more security here, more leeway in the series. Horizon over to the sidewall as well. Finally starting to settle in here, and now I can take a bit further of a look back at what these teams are able to do. Good early drives here deep into the box, making sure the ball is centered up as quickly as possible, but a little bit of a breakaway. It's a near 2-on-0. Big save from Scooter, though. The absolute hustle to get back. Goes off the crossbar. Plu. No save, though, and not Leopard. Call it a read. Call it falling right into position. Whatever you do, it's a goal for Fanshawe.
Call it a fall, call it a read. I like to call it calculated, Galgan. Look, sometimes just putting yourself in the way is the best way to go about it in a bit of a chaos situation like that. And it does pay off in the right position to get that touch into the back of the net. And it doesn't matter how they go in, it has gone in. Fanshawe with that advantage once again.
And looking for even more here, but the midfield is going to be the largest point of contention for these teams, and Not Leopard is certainly pulling a large amount of weight here to get this one going. No respect for Queens on the counter, just bullying everybody. Pass, the ball is launched to the backboard, and the goal is as good as scored.
So he manages to flick it over one, he Goomba stomps the second, and then he just beats the third to the ball. 1v3, missing a sense, but Not Leopard doesn't care. That's his hat trick within 3 minutes.
Fantastic effort thus far, worthy of all the accolades given to the player for solid striking here on his side. Trying to pick up some more, though, for Fanshawe. The rest of the team moves forward, and Not Leopard forced to retreat here with about half a tank of boost against Plu up in the corner, who is trying to take a page out of Horizon's own book earlier on. But Bean Zeus wins this challenge, gets another 50 as well to bounce through, and that's Not Leopard's green light. Sends a tricky low shot. That thing glued to the ground the whole way through.
Let's talk about his major, shall we? Computer programming and analysis, and it seems that every single goal has been set up with a great idea in mind, whether it's keeping Queens stuck in their own half, whether it's beating 3 players, or whether it's just a simple, let's keep the ball low, and we're going to basically encourage your opponent to try and jump for it, only to find out that it goes underneath them. What a great player, and what a great start for Fanshawe, especially when it was 1-1 just 2 minutes ago.
They really have set themselves apart here, and we've said it so much about how the emergence area is all about expecting the unexpected and what could come through, what could not, just as easily as Fanshawe and especially Not Leopard have taken prime advantage of those situations. And it still, needs to be said with the other players of Fanshawe being so present in the middle of the pitch. Not Leopard doesn't really get the opportunities down further on the field unless the rest of the team here for Fanshawe is pulling their weight in the middle. But here goes Horizon looking for a redirected pass. Does not connect. Scary opportunity, but they need a bit more than that here in the final 60.
Right down the other side of the pitch, got to be careful. Not Leopard with 100 steal on the way out. Through the corner, here he is again. Shot into the center, no one willing to strike it away, but struck against their own backboard. That's not the way out for Queen's Tricolour. Once again, it hits the backboard. There's no way out. It's a shot towards target, and it fires wide, close to a 5th.
They've really made a show of it here, though, Fanshawe, putting Queens in very many difficult predicaments, but Scooter looking for one more off the backboard towards the crossbar. Plu not up enough on that angle, trying to have the calculation but not coming to fruition. Double demo connects, but the ball is sent the wrong way here for Queens as they've got 15 seconds to try and at least get one for the road here. Fanshawe locking up the first game of the series, best of 5, as well as all of these regular season games have been. And Plu with a solid challenge here, centers this one up, and the touch you wanted to see punched home will not be. The result stays the same, but 1 goal less than it probably should have been.
And the one more or one less seems to be a bit of a story here, because of course the team that lost that is 1 win short, but also 1 loss more than their opponents, and it does seem like that on the pitch. Clearance is not that strong. When they are in a good punishing position in front of net, they don't have that clinical edge to put the shots away with the same consistency that we see from Fanshawe, or should we just say not Leopard at this point, as he scored all the goals for their team. Look, plenty of good opportunities for Queens, and if they can continue creating those opportunities, they should be fine. Just got to find their shooting boosts.
To go back to the defensive side, though, I mean, what Fanshawe likes is Queens, not being able to get that strong clear initially, because that's what players like Not Leopard will jump on 10 times out of 10. That vulnerability on the defensive line when you don't get the clear out the way you want, you're immediately in an awkward spot, and all of a sudden your second man in rotation on defense for Queens is struggling to get into a meaningful spot because maybe they already rotated through far post to near post, they've got that momentum going, and now the entire back half of the net is open. It just sort of all stems from that missed clear. And Fanshawe here in game 1 has proven that they are the team that can take those opportunities if given, and honestly they'll bully them through if they need to. Not Leopard has shown that the bottom of the zone is no strange place for Fanshawe to be.
Interesting as well to say that both these teams have the same form going into today as well, and so both teams have come off in their last 3 matches, 1 win, which was in week 7, 1 loss, which was in week 6, and 1 forfeit, which was in week 5. That's right, these 2 teams have got exactly the same form over the past 3 weeks. So really there are no excuses apart from what your talent is like. And I am completely oblivious, Galgan, as to what this Utopia variant is. I have never seen it. Is this the blitzy version, the glitzy version? This is
the gilded version from the whole fancy. They had the Maestro for the season car. I believe it was free to play season 7. I personally really like it. I think this is a solid alternative to having a primarily grass field, but I understand it's not very present in competitive play too much. But Queens, obviously the royalty of this matchup, looking for a bit of success on their home turf, if you could call it that.
Scoot. What a pop by Plu. And look at that drop down pass as well. An excellent team play that moved from right into center to slightly off center. Great communication between the 3. Excellently crafted goal just after a minute as well. Queens Tricolour back in the series.
Absolutely, but Not Leopard, not keen with keeping it that way for very long. Wisey slides up high, catches that one with the back tire, and the punch home from Bean Seuss just not over the top of the wall, built up there in the air. Not Leopard forced to make another touch, and nearly a screamer sent on a double from the corner. All of a sudden, the pace of play in this lobby has skyrocketed forward as saves are abound on both sides just to keep this one going.
See, it's the lack of grass, Galgan. There's less friction, less resistance against the ball, so it moves a little quicker, and that's certainly suiting the pace of Queens Tricolour here. Oh, what a pass infield! And thankfully for Fanshawe, they had Wisey on the line, able to make that clearance before someone on the opposition team got a touch out to the midfield. Horizon will chase this, not going to win. Does get a piece of it. Keeps it locked in the blue half an hour. Wisey. As towards net, but giving up possession a little too easily. Not Leopard now, looking to bring it up the wall, across the box, off the backboard, but loads of players back in net for Queens.
And Wisey slides, tries to go through Beanseuss as well, but both a bit too slow. It does feel like the crucial juncture here. The pace of play has picked up, but Scooter going to get the better of this shot. Patience is a virtue, and it pays off here. Beautiful challenge to initiate that off the back wall, and that is a very solid read right there. Just a nice soft touch with the nose of the octane there, and Queens all of a sudden, this is a pretty solid 2-goal lead. I'm not really asking too many questions of them.
Yeah, it's a nice slice, and it's a nice display of quality after what I would say is a performance that lacked a bit of quality, and that's on all sides of the field as well, both in front of net and putting up saves when they need to in their own third as well. The clearances, one of my big pet peeves from last game. that all seems to be sorted as well, but they've got to be consistent over the 5 minutes, Galgan. There's still half a game left to run.
Not Leopard. Trying to wake up here in this game number 2. YZ Slides will clear over to the side, and Beansus tries to pick up the pieces here. That's the point that I wanted to make before Queens notched their second, was the second person in the rotations offensively this time. Double demo, we'll see Not Leopard and Plu sit out for a few seconds, but both of these teams are starting to string together, infield passes or pass touches from the corners with a great deal more speed than they were in the first game. But it can always be difficult to predict exactly where that ball's going. YZ Slides, you want to talk about a prediction, though. That top corner a bit wider, and we would have had ourselves quite the goal. But Beansu's trying to pick it up here and sends it just wide from Not Leopard's touchdown. So Fanshawe still continue to look with 90 seconds to go, but Not Leopard's back yet again, and they don't really give you a moment to breathe here once they get control.
It's a bit of deja vu for YZ as well. Similar position, same outcome. Hits the woodwork rather than the top pocket. Moving out of their own half then. Queens with a very comfortable looking 2-0 now as the clock continues to run down. Burning the time quite nicely as Scooter would be very happy with a third. Not going to find it on this occasion. YZ through the corner. Plu with a pre-jump completely misses it, and that's going to cost them 1-goal game.
Such a tough read to make there, so there's only so much that you can put this on the defense. Plu did have time, but that corner can be oh so cruel when it's running along that wall. Unless it's flush, it's most likely going to pop out like that, and that angle is all the difference. Nice finish, that's what I'm talking about, getting that read on lock offensively. Fanshawe all of a sudden have one, Fanshawe nearly have two, but Plu with a bit of redemption here. Not Leopard comes back, and Horizon forced to save it away. All of a sudden, Fanshawe are screaming out of the gates here towards the final 45.
5 minutes, Galgan. The game is 5 minutes long. Still 40 seconds of those 5 minutes, plus any extra on top of the regulation to go. Miss, and a challenge means that Fanshawe are forced back. It's a completely open rotation. They threw the kitchen sink. Not going to be punished immediately. Not Leopard. Good challenge there. Bit of a neutral as Plu's not able to stop the ball from reaching his own goal mouth. Scooter off the backboard into an area where no one else is lying. That is the perfect amount of game management needed. Leaves it, Beanzus to the side, 10 seconds remaining. Oh, bit of an open lane here, and it's fallen kindly to Beanzus. Be careful, Queens Tricolour. That's the sort of clearance that they're hoping for. Not Leopard, got to keep it on top of his car. Does so, blocked, locked down. YZ now doesn't get the launch he was looking for. Tie series.
Fanshawe, what a push there at the end, but I have to give my last minute MVP award to Scooter there. That was some excellent time killing on the defensive side. I mean, it was a full pitch effort, right around 30 seconds left to go from your own backboard to the sidewall, back to Fanshawe's backboard, all in one fell swoop. That is the sort of thing that doesn't show up on the scoreboards and it doesn't show up on many stat lines, but it wins you games because Queens, they desperately needed to buy a clear, and if it only takes them one player as the cost to get that clear, they are going to be in a very solid position to kill off the rest of the clock.
×2 scorer as well. So, of course, not only is he doing great work defensively in the clutch moments where it matters, but he's actually put the 2 goals away, and they needed that one extra goal to get them over the line in the end. So that is a solid game. I wouldn't say a spectacular game, mostly because it really did feel like Fanshawe were going to get that second, had the clock maybe run for another 30 to 60 seconds or so. We'll see how that translates into a Game 3 performance, because for me, Fanshawe looking the much stronger in that final minute.
It does feel like they're ramping up, right? Because I think if they don't show that in the final moments of the game, you can kind of write it off as, okay, Not Leopard is really on his form in Game 1. He's performed above expectations and gotten the team the win. Now in Game 2, you need the full 3 to push forward as a squad. You need YZ Slides, you need Beanzus to be hitting their touches, hitting their shots just as equally as Not Leopard. But that was the case towards the end, too little too late for Fanshawe, so they find themselves tied in the series, and we really are hitting the spectrum here of Rocket Pass maps as we head to the ever so popular, maybe with, a good 5% of the player base, comic version of Neo Tokyo here for Game 3.
I was wondering whether there was something wrong with my eyes. I was like, what on earth? Is this like oversaturated or something? And it certainly is providing a bit of a struggle here to keep with the moving pictures. Fingers crossed that'll be sorted in due time as the processor of the wonderful Grissom is able to get used to what is assaulting the screen here. But assaulting the net early on is Queen's Tricolour. It looks like they're trying to not necessarily pick up where they left off in game number 3, but rather to reset to the beginning of game number 2. That's where they were at their best, but no early goals as of yet.
It does look like a bit of a stagger here. We come back and now finally forced against the back of the line here, but Beansus has jumped too early and too far wide inside the target, so that will not come to be. Horizon pushing this one all the way to the back, punch home. Not Leopard stands strong though, trying to play slow to clear it away, and Scooter registers another shot on, but Queens will see their way away with no goal scored just yet. Pushed out of the corner yet again though, which has been such a pivotal zone of this matchup. Both teams looking for their centers from that area. It can be easy, honestly, to just launch the ball to the corner and hope that it ends up in a centered position. More often than not, it has for these teams, but you start to wonder when the defenses will grow more keen to it and be able to block away anything that comes from that wayward angle.
Both teams showing great respect to each other as well. You can see why there's not been anything too fancy put together, because they know that the threat of a counter-attack is deadly. Wisey Slides was trying to go for what has become a classic of the RLCS, really, hitting the ball lightly towards the net, then streaming ahead of the ball to go for a bump. It didn't come off on that occasion. Queens trying to bring it out to the midfield line again, forced back as Scooter's going to pick up 100 boost on the way. Oh, didn't get the touch he was looking for, and that's another mistake in the Queens back line that leads to a Fanshawe goal. Not Leopard at it again.
There's Not Leopard getting back to the usual antics here. Awkward touch on defense. Not Leopard is there lurking in the shadows, ready to strike at a moment's notice. It's what you know him to be doing so well in this series thus far. He continues that form, and no place is safe here for Queens to try and get that slower carry on defense. They certainly want to turn this around because the momentum of the previous game would suggest that they had that offensive possession in hand, but with the Plinko back and forth between players and no goal found, Queens just needed to be decisive about it, get clear with those rotations, and make sure they give each other the lane to shoot.
Beansus, I presume, has hit this ball. Indeed he has, taking it around the world. And that ball going to fly over to the far side into Queen's possession. Plu moving forward towards net. Good challenge from the keeper. Beansus forced up, misreads, but the shot goes wide. Thankfully for him, a sweat off the brow. Wisey Slides. Pop up. Oh, close down again. Good read. But no one willing to follow up on this, Skaugen. And if you're not quick on the follow-ups, you're going to have problems moving forward.
Queens, they certainly just need that bit more of pace here, because there have been opportunities where Fanshawe have missed that defensive read, but Queens have not been able to respond on the shot. That really does create the crux of this game number 3, as they've had, Queens, plenty of opportunities down the middle lane, haven't really been present in the earlier moments of this series, but with Fanshawe trying to get a bit overzealous on their defensive clears and missing, you really want to see those shots at least hit the target here for Queens, but the pushes are still looking strong here. Through the corner goes Plu, trying to go off the ceiling with about 40 boost, plays it low, but Wisey Slides. Solid read there to get things going. The beneficiary of a missed challenge as well. Centers this one up, and it's good enough for a self-dish from distance. Wisey Slides gets Fanshawe up by 2.
Oh, there's one word I can use to describe this, and that's nonchalance. It's such an innocuous shot towards net. You don't really expect it to go in, but just slight enough was the angle, and so cute enough was the doink that it was enough to beat what ended up being the final defender. And perhaps that's the biggest betrayal of that Queen's defense, was there was almost an expectancy that someone else was going to come in. They didn't, and now that's almost up a 3 as the ball glances across the net.
Yeah, you're right on it, though. It is a minor occurrence of expecting the unexpected, but it is one nonetheless. Little collision here from Not Leopard and Beansus to try and get the clear. This ball moving down the length of the pitch, but not finding the back of the net just yet until we go bottom corner. Just wide is Beansus, but opportunities still abound. 30 seconds, though, for Queens to try and find 2 to equalize. They've got the series equalized currently. Don't really want to be dropping down to give Fanshawe 2 opportunities to close throws it away here, Relic, but Fanshawe still look very strong, very keen to close this one out.
And Fanshawe's defense is what this entire game has been built off. Queen's just lacking the creativity, lacking the power plays to really break through what is a park the bus mentality, especially at this late stage. That's comfortable for Fanshawe. I would argue even more comfortable than their 4-1 win in game number 1, where it seemed a little more open. I hope that we never see that monstrosity of a map ever again. Give me regular Neo Tokyo any day of the week. But do give me a little bit more of what we saw in game 2, please, Queens, because it just felt like 66% of the pitch was in your control, but then you lost control in that final 33%, and the turnover, the transitions from Fanshawe, and once again, their clinicalness is what brought them over the edge in this particular encounter.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Game 2, I feel like, or rather game 3 at the beginning here, I feel like we saw a different version of Queens within the first 30-45 seconds than we did in game number 2. And at that point, you didn't necessarily want to write off the game right there and then, because a Rocket League game is 5 minutes long, but you could tell that something felt off about it. So Queens looking for a stronger start in this game number 4. And I have to bring up this fact now because it's an entertaining one, and we talked about it in the green room. I'm fairly certain that this fact rings true for you as well, but of the matches that I have been on an NECC broadcast for, none of them have gone to game number 5. That does not bode very well for Queens here, but we'll see if they can get it done. Certainly, if we get back to game 2 form, I could very well anticipate Champions Field.
If I haven't commentated, or if I have commentated on a Game 5 Galgan, I don't remember it. And that tells you how much of a rarity it has been on the full Season B stream at the very least. Right, game number 4. It could all be ended here. All Fanshawe have to do is win. It's as simple as that. If Queens win, of course, we go to game number 5, and Beckwith Park certainly a little bit easier on the eyes, and so maybe they'll be able to spot a goal, any goal, as they actually went scoreless in that previous scenario, in that previous 5-minute time period, and maybe they're going to go down again here. No, reaching forward, that's Bean Zeus in field, looking for the bump was Def Leppard, didn't find it.
You have to admit, though, it's quite the antithesis to Queens and their success that they had on the Gilded Utopia Coliseum. I mean, that's essentially, oh boy, opportunity off the woodwork. Plu has a chance to shoot. Wisey Slide saves away. I feel like it's moving from a newly built World Cup stadium to the pitch for your Sunday league, you know, where everybody has had a bit too much to maybe make the football come a bit too easier, but still, Fanshawe looking for... Oh dear, it's absolute chaos. No demos come through. It's pure bumper cars, which results in a goal for Queens.
1, 2, 3, 4. So a total of 4 players missed the ball through one way or another. After it hit the backboard, by the way, the backboard was the last player to hit the ball. And by the time we finally have someone hit the ball, the field is wide open. All you've got to do is shoot it on target and you've got yourself a goal. Queens, it's a freebie. Oh, I think Scooter perhaps just a little too conservative there. Could have moved forward with a broken rotation. Might it have been 2-0? Who knows? Fanshawe towards the backboard now as well, looking for that second touch. Here it is with Bean Zeus off the backboard again. In it goes. Oh, it's off the crossbar and in. Bardowski, not Leopard, can't stop scoring.
Lucky bounce there, but they'll take it. Fanshawe equalize. Good capitalization, though, on that opportunity. Scooter just burnt a bit on both sides of the field there. So unfortunate goings there for Queens. But you were right on it. Those decisions being made, it could have been 2-0 for Queens had Scooter potentially had some more in the tank. But I think that 0 was looming over his head, starting to make him think that, you know, it really would be a tricky situation to set yourself in if you've sent way too much. And Fanshawe would have had a much easier way to equalize this game. But again, hindsight is always 20/20.
Now, hindsight might very well be 2-1 had it not been for the efforts of Plu on defense. Back into the middle. Reloading the weaponry. Bean Zeus. Oh, Scooter taking him out the picture. Horizon, nice pop. There's 2 back here and no boost challenge. Wisey slides. Oh, got a little bit ahead of the ball there. Gives up possession. Scooter doesn't really do much with his amount, though. Top of the box. Who's that going to find? It's going to find Bean Zeus. That's towards net. Oh, massive miscommunication and failing to get to the challenge in the first place. Queen's Tricolour down 2-1.
It really has been the battle of the defenses this time around. Couple of open goals on both sides. Fanshawe the beneficiary here, and still half of regulation time to be played. But Fanshawe now in the driver's seat with all of the control seemingly in their grasp. Just need to lock things down on their own end, but they've let one slip through. Not Leopard able to get it clear, and now looking to try and beat two in one go. The challenge not too favorable, however, and Fanshawe still maintaining possession, looking for control and time killing here, even early on as 2 minutes remaining in regulation.
See, Horizon maybe should have read where the ball was going to bounce off the wall, as difficult as it was going to be. It's hardly led to any forward momentum. That's forward, but it's not into the back of the net, not just yet, as that fires wide. Demo. Oh, a double demo, massive power play, but nobody's got the ball for Fanshawe, so the power play comes to nothing.
Beansus tried to demo his own teammate there to make it a trifecta. Unfortunately, not how the programming works, but you have to applaud the effort, at the very least, to try and rack up that kill total here. Not quite the game that you expect players to be going for that, but still, Fanshawe, the time still killed off the clock somewhat. Scooter looking for the push out, and Plu goes up second, so they do carry this one all the way down, and what a pick off there. Plu gets that challenge through far side, goal scored, tie game.
Yes, he picks his pockets as he does. Plu really just gave them no opportunity. Wisely slides, fair play to him, almost gets that off the line. Incredibly difficult skill to be able to perform, especially as you're being asked to go into a backflip whilst also trying to stop your momentum. Either way, it's a way back into the game. It's a way to stay alive in the series, more importantly. The Queen's Tricolour is through the corner. There'll be nothing but blue cars ready to clear the line.
And on that last opportunity, I don't think anything in this game is quite as tilting as watching a goal go in that you tried to save away and hearing that thunk as the defender. You know you made the touch on it, but Wisey slides. Not too much time to think about it. Queens have already started their assault looking for the third, but a forward demo from Not Leopard this time gets Horizon centered up here. Beansus off the post. Anyone there for the finish? Not Leopard goes. Wisey slides. Slow shot. Save is away, but everyone's committing for it. It's absolute chaos again, minus the bumps, but add the saves as Queens keep themselves in it.
Oh, Horizon, what are you doing? You're taking the ball for a walk. It's not your pet. You can't just throw a collar on it and call it a day. As here comes another shot in, blocked by Plu. Beansus, I believe, will be forced to leave it here for Not Leopard, but they've run out of boost, Fanshawe. They're trying to sustain this drive on fumes as Wisey slides. That was, I believe, denied by the post, not necessarily the player, although he probably shot a little bit wider than he was expecting because of said player. Oh, that's a free opportunity. Wisey slides back for more. Is that the series?
Oh, the tantalizing reward of extra time in Game 4, dangled on the hook of a fishing line, and Fanshawe have ripped it clear of the water with 8 seconds remaining. Devastating here, but Queens, one last opportunity to try and send us to the first overtime of the series. Kickoff falls to Plu. Actually has threaded the needle between two defenders. Scooter's up, but Scooter doesn't have the read past the challenge. Backboard, it's lobbed towards the top corner, but sent away, and Plu sends it just ever so barely to the bottom of the back wall. Fanshawe, they deny us yet another Champions Field. They get their 3-1 series victory.
Oh, this is why they are emergents and not navigators. Very good emergents, I should say, but that's a moment where you've managed to win the kickoff possession. You're able to go into the opposition half. All you need to do is set up one good chance, but the setup doesn't arrive because he fails to make that read through the corner. It's a bit of a scuffed clearance, I would want to say, into the middle, left to the devices of the blue team. Fanshawe Fuel. Look, they've earned that win, fair and square, and Queen's Tricolour will be and sort of cursing the sky, wanting those chances back. They fall onto 4-4, Gaugen. Of course, Fanshawe, they move up onto 6-2. Very much prime candidates now for that promotion spot.
That's a big result as well for Fanshawe Red, because they want that win to get closer to the other Academy team, Fanshawe Academy Black, who are in this division as well. So bit of inter-school rivalry there, never hurt anybody, and a good on the Red squad to get this victory here in the final season, or final week, I should say, of regular season play. But Relic, I am just as excited about this second matchup, because we've had this happen before where both Fanshawe teams have played on the stream back-to-back. Now this time, while Queen's Tricolour have fallen, Queen's Highlanders look to pick up the pieces where their brethren could not do so, and they are attempting to do so against the Durham Lords. It is a Challengers Ontario matchup, and it is coming at you after the end of this short break. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, friends. We've got ourselves another series on this final week of NECC action. Myself, Relic, him, Galgan. I've, of course, got Grissom on production and on all of the pretty pictures coming your way. Galgan, 2 teams. Tell me about them.
2 teams. We've got Queens. Again, Queen's University of Ontario. But this time it is Queen's Highlanders. And they are taking on Durham Lords Esports from Durham College. Another Canadian battle. But what's interesting about this one, Queen's Highlanders, as far as the table goes, they are in the 7th position. There are 6 teams higher than Queen's Highlanders right now. 5 of those 6 teams have handed the Highlanders a loss. And there is only one remaining. It is that Durham Lords squad. 6-1, the Durham Lords' only loss is to the team at the top of the table, which is U Ottawa Garnet. So predictable, maybe in terms of paper statistics for the Durham Lords to take this series home, but anything and everything can happen in Week 8. Destiny is in the hands of the Queen's Highlanders for now.
This really on paper does seem like the most obvious 3-0 sweep that you could read for the entirety of, I think, the 8 weeks that we've seen, especially since that we know the majority of the results for these guys now. The sort of air of mystery has gone away. And I wish that I could say, Galgan, that I like the idea of maybe a bit of complacency from Durham, maybe Queen's Highlanders. There's a chance that they can put together a winning run here because, of course, they are lossless in their last 2 weeks, but one of them was a forfeit. The other one was a 3-0 sweep, but that 3-0 sweep was against bottom of the table. Durham, for me, complacency is the only killer of their chances here. If they feel like this is going to be a walkover, then they've probably got another thing coming, because, of course, this is challengers. We're not talking about ridiculously terrible players or anything. They are in the same division. They have to be respected as such.
Indeed, and I like the point about complacency from these teams, but I hesitate to latch onto it because of the fact that, like you mentioned, this is challengers gameplay. Even if these players from Durham are playing with no pressure on them, just playing Rocket League for the sake of playing a game with everybody on a Friday night, I still think that there's a high enough level of play to end up winning this series when the storyline on paper suggests that this should be such a result as the one that we are expecting it to be, because again, this is Durham at the 2nd position on the table. They've looked very solid thus far. Their only loss to U Ottawa, who are at the top of the table, was a full 5-game series. So if that goes any different ever so slightly, we're having a completely different conversation about Durham having such a dominant regular season. They're wiping the floor with everybody. So that really comes down to the difference there. So Queen's Highlanders, they know the task set ahead of them is a tall one to climb indeed. Like I said, Destiny in their hands for as long as they can hold on to it as Queens get this one going.
Wait, what's that logo? Is it similar? Well, yes, it is. They're both from Queen's University, of course. We had the Queen's Tricolour earlier. We've got the Queen's Challengers, or the Queen's Highlanders now. And, we'll see what these 3 can put on the table after their brethren unfortunately fell in our last series on stream already. It's been a rather fast and frenetic opening for both sides, and almost a goal scored here for the Durham Lords. 7-1 is Brazil, but of the entire league, not a bad win-loss record to go home with at the end of the fall.
Certainly not, and good pushes here from Durham early on. That storyline, though, I'm centered up on it with Queen's Highlanders playing now. I mean, this is a challengers matchup, so it's essentially Big Bro taking the controller from Lil Bro and saying, hold on, I got this, let me get this victory. However, Big Bro doesn't realize that Lil Bro's MMR is a little too high, and all of a sudden they bit off more than they can chew, but they don't seem to have too many issues digesting it now. Like for Mike, with a pickoff here in the middle of the field, Lobster bit too comfortable. First goal go to the Highlanders.
I get the impression Lobster didn't quite see that Like for Mike was there. And perhaps that's where the confusion comes in. Like for Mike, all he's got to do with the better positioning is ensure that he wins a challenge and hope more than anything that he's got his angles correct and that the ball ends up going towards the goal. Because it's so close to the net as well, there's very little time for Durham to react. But despite plenty of time to react on this occasion, Wildfire sets the goal mouth burning.
You want to talk about reaction time? Wildfire gave very little of a window there. Twinkle Toes trying to get off the back wall, but all for naught. Very speedy jump there from the ceiling in a position where you might expect the player to play a bit slower, look for a center pass off maybe a flashy flip reset or something of the sort. Sometimes the calmest plays, I say calm, but obviously that one was speeding towards the net, tend to be the most successful.
Lobster up high to the backboard. Oh dear, Simba. Well, he's lucky that he has his teammates to bail him out there. Completely misread when that ball was going to arrive at his location. Twinkle Toes moving forward. Little boost, gets 100. And back on his bike. Lobster, that sort of leaves his clutch. It leaves his grasp. Life of Mike going for the boost and then the ball. I would have preferred the clearance personally. There's Simba. Another miss, however. And they're struggling to get out of their own half at the moment. Durham Lords looking to wind up for another. It's 2v1. And it's still not put home off the line by Twinkle Toes.
Oh, everybody diving for it, but none too successful. Wildfire, nice turnaround here from the middle of the field, though, on that off angle. And now Lobster running through to keep Highlanders on the back foot. Wildfire again taking a turn, and Durham now starting to put on display what has gotten them thus far in the regular season. Wildfire, great pickup of the pass across from the far corner, and beautiful one there for Durham's second.
Like for Mike, the goal scorer, sure, but a bit of ball watching there and not recognizing that he was straying out of the position he needed to be in with two players throwing themselves at the ball. One of them was bound to make contact. It was almost certainly heading towards the goal. Like for Mike was the only player who could have defended it. He didn't.
Now Highlanders tasked with getting another clear away early, but they've left this one open, and Blucifer will send it home. Durham punches home their third, still over 2 to go, but Highlanders again struck with the same defensive woes they've had earlier on in this game. They're playing it slowly, and they're looking for each other on the passing lanes, which is important when you want to be slow defensively, but if you can't find each other with enough efficiency and get that ball moving, Durham is happy to walk right into the zone and challenge you as much as they like.
Nice mentals from Durham as well. From 1-0 down, they've now scored 3 unanswered. Looking every bit as good as their record suggests. Ball pops up. Backboard. No shadow strike here. No need to. Although that's going to go towards net. It's going to hit the woodwork. Back into the middle. Wildfire. Looking to cause shenanigans. Blucifer. Oh, lovely touch, but unfortunately falls kindly for Mike. That said, he's going to pay for claiming the ball for his own. Taken out of the picture. And every time that the Queen's Highlanders move forward, it seems like they don't get to move forward for long, Galg, and Durham throw it right back in their faces.
They really do get stifled out, and it's on Durham here for having that edge in the control. You can see Lobster picks this one up, goes bottom corner, demos Twinkle Toes a little bit after the fact, so a penalty surely if we were playing that way, but regardless, goal still not scored just yet. Lobster will go up though and beat one from the backboard down, and forcing the defender into a frenzy here is Blucifer. What a goal for the fourth.
Not so much a lobster bisque as a lobster risk, because Blucifer's got such a difficult job on his hands to shoot from there. Does so, and I don't know whether he's the derpy brother of or just a blue version of the devil, but there's something devilish about the way that fell into the net. Not that they care. 1 minute left, and they've got themselves a 3-goal lead.
And certainly singing some Hail Marys here, the Highlanders, to get back in to this first game of the series, but Durham look poised and confident. Now 4 unanswered. May have just gotten the response, but Simba goes wide. Opportunities abound, though, from this corner, but not if the clear comes through, and that is a solid and quick-moving connection down the length of the field. Durham now shooting opportunity, and the defense has been caught out, put on a poster. Wildfire makes it 5.
It's really smart from Wildfire as well. When you're coming in from that angle, I think every defender and all of their mothers will be looking at that and thinking, well, surely he's going to shoot across net to try and get it away from us. And he sells them on that story, but instead shoots on the inside, therefore committing one player. The player that is on the line is stationary, can't react quickly enough. That's the hat trick for Wildfire, and well played too.
And the Highlanders now a bit too much of a goal differential to solve in the time allotted, so trying to just stave off this last opportunity from Durham. Twinkletoes may have a lane through, actually beats two, trying to go for a dribble and deke, but Wildfire able to pick up the pieces off of that missed opportunity. 5 seconds to go here. Durham closing things out. Lobster wants one more. Like for Mike meets it in the skies, and the Durham Lords ground the ball deep in the Queens Highlanders zone. 5-1 the result. Game 1 done and dusted, and at the end of the day, it is only one game, but this one was very much a display of what Durham can do under, it's a small amount of pressure. They go down 0-1 early on, but they respond emphatically and in a very convincing way to try and move forward in the series.
And the strangest thing is that I look at the offense of Queen's Highlanders, and I don't actually think it's that bad. Obviously, we had that one moment where we maybe see a bit of a deke here and there, and unfortunately they kind of tie their shoelaces together and fall over themselves, but the actual attacking patterns were good. I really liked them. Their defense, on the other hand, not so great. Not going to be, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not great. Oh my god, are they going to get another early goal here? Like for Mike, almost getting something immediately off the rip. But yeah, that's not what I'm worried about. They are so porous in defense. Their defensive rotations aren't great, and the Durham Lords offense is simply that much better.
Oh, it's very difficult, too, to keep those holes closed up when Durham punches through them time and time again. They are very vicious on those slices, but they don't find it just yet. And we do get through the first 30 seconds relatively unscathed, but Durham now, you can see, again, it's establishment here of pressure. While Queens Highlanders had the green light there on the kickoff to look for the opportunity, the finisher wasn't present. Now Simba Boom looking for something, but defense collides from Durham, and they go back the other way. A little musty off the sidewall for show. Why not? That's challenged all the way out to the side. Durham, control, deep in the zone. Don't get a shot through just yet, but now to the back wall. Blucifer is up. Blucifer has a second touch. Wildfire looking for more as well, but has touched it just wide. Very fancy footwork here, or wheel work, if you will, from Durham, but no goals just yet from it.
And that's the important thing. Queens have survived the onslaught for now. Your Rocket League team is only as good as your weakest player on the day. And right now, the team need to try and rally around Simba Boom, because he's had a real tough time getting some better clearances in this game, but was really struggling in game number 1. And they're having a few moments where he's trying to move forward, but he's very isolated in midfield. So I'd like to see this team rallying around him, enabling him to maybe put together some passing plays of their own. Finally, there's a period here where all 3 of them are in the orange half, but just as soon as that's happened, just look at the confidence exuding from Durham Lords, slowing down the play to a snail's pace because they just know that they've got the quality to fashion something from nothing.
Durham is doing a solid job of sitting up on the play, but not in an over-committing fashion. They're able to raise that bar of what the back of their zone is further towards the middle of the field, and it makes Queens Highlanders' opportunities that much more difficult because they have less and less space to work with. They've got to fashion it themselves, but Durham not too keen with giving them the better of the light of day here. Wildfire flip reset as well. Durham proving that it's honestly an offensive triple threat. Each player capable of getting something started in flashy fashion from the sidewall. Queens Highlanders also converting some opportunities on the other side, but they go by the wayside just as quickly here. Collision in the mid. Wildfire denied that second touch from the back wall. Like for Mike, looks for another challenge. The Highlanders keeping themselves afloat here, still level heading with 2 and change to play.
And that was really nice from Like for Mike as well, with limited boost, 20 boost only, waiting until the very last moment and challenging perfectly. There's no other way to put it. He challenged perfectly, and he had no right to get what he did on the ball. 2 minutes left. And still, the scores are not anything different from what we started this 5-minute period from. But you just get that feeling, Galgan, that Durham have the game in the palm of their hands, and as if on cue, Lobster dives in with the opener.
They've bucked the trend. Queens Highlanders were hoping to get the first goal again just a bit later on, but Lobster has won the challenge ever so slightly, but that's all that matters. A screamer down from the corner, and Durham Lords now with the lead, under 2 minutes to play as we continue on. But Queens Highlanders now with the deficit against them, you've got to ask themselves for all the real estate that they've tried to gain for themselves in this particular game 2. They've got to get the goal to show for it.
Did you see how that 100 boost perfectly spawned for Wildfire, by the way? Even the RNG isn't exactly liking Queen's chances. Like for Mike towards the corner. Oh, and it runs straight into Simba Boom. Twinkle Toes forced to run around, but that flick's going nowhere. Wildfire, a flick of his own towards net. Easy.
Plenty of pace on that one. Wildfire, it's confidence. It really is from Durham Lords. Very solid touch there, and I don't think you could have placed that one in much better of a position, or else you had gone far side there and just absolutely launched. That would have been a monstrous touch to make, but even then you're sort of opening the door for Simba to be able to get to that challenge. So plenty of things going into it here for Durham. A multifaceted offensive attack, which is what you always need in these matchups. Demo from Simba to try and thin the numbers out. Big clear down, but Lucifer should have the possession here, and Durham Lords until the final 60 with yet another lead.
Durham can afford to play within themselves now. They are allowed the luxury of an anchor player. They can throw 2 players forward, and to be fair, Queen's Highlanders, that rotation starting to melt like chocolate in a teapot. It's not exactly high quality Rocket League from the Queens, and maybe just requiring a goal to lift the standard, to lift the confidence more importantly. The only goal going in, though, is for Durham Lords Esports. That's a third, and Wildfire's at it again.
And it is unfortunate, truly, because we knew that the Highlanders had to strike early if they wanted to set the pace of this game. Durham is a team that ages well with time and gets better and better as we go on. They proved that in the first game. They've proved that here again in the second. And the Highlanders now forced to fight for scraps before they are tasked with making this reverse sweep a reality. We knew this would be a mountain to climb for the Highlanders, but if anybody could get it done, I mean, the Highlanders in the name makes it fairly probable in its own right. Durham Lords, though, not too content with letting this one slip away. Final seconds tick off. Simba one last look, but grounded by the challenge. And the Durham Lords now 3 chances to move to 7-1.
I think more pertinently, Galgan, they are the only ones that can get it done now because they're their last opponents before the playoffs for the full season. So, yeah, it could very well be the last game. Not of the season, of course. Still got 2 more matches after this one. But, yeah, it's kind of just going the way that we expected. We can see that the Queens, in comparison to other teams in lower divisions, are definitely a decent squad. But what they're lacking is that final piece of the puzzle which elevates them to a top of the table sort of squad. A squad like Durham, where not only do they do 80% of a play right, not only do they hit the ball with presence, with power, and with accuracy. They're not going for major power plays like we would see from some of the better teams in this division as well. And Durham Lords, I said they were playing within themselves within that game, and that's only because they've put in the hard graft to get themselves a comfortable enough lead, and from there on in, Queen's Highlanders, if they didn't look creative before, they certainly didn't look creative thereafter.
It is the definition of comfort, though, for the Durham Lords to get that lead early on and then kind of sit back and understand, you know, we can give a little bit of an affordance here. Like you said at the end of game 2, we can be a little bit more lenient with how many players we send forward, how many people we anchor on the defensive side, because they're constantly analyzing and adjusting to the threat, whatever threat the Queen's Highlanders pose on the offensive side themselves.
What?
So we see a very interesting card change to kick this one off. And you can always talk about the mental factor of that, right? How much it really weighs on these players. But like for Mike, trying to get it done here, I quite honestly cannot place the name of that one. I believe it's one of the Batmobiles, however. Yeah. But Queen's Highlanders just looking for any change here into game 3.
You know, it's a nice nod as well, of course, the Batman himself, Kevin Conroy, passing away at the age of 66 today. May he rest in peace. What a legend he was in the voice acting industry, and may the most recent incarnation of the Batman, his vehicle, help guide like for Mike to maybe 1 or maybe 2 more goals. A game win would be wonderful, but it's not starting off with a light at the end of the tunnel. It's only darkness that seems to land there as it's Wildfire with yet another to add to his tally.
Yeah, the darkness really lit up by that fire. Wildfire striking early and often here in the series thus far for Durham Lords. Solid positioning. Again, they've just been able, the Durham Lords, to feed each other deep in the zone and at least get a strong 50 off, which we've seen. Even that has resulted in some goals. Lobster scored on one such opportunity. Blucifer, nice jump backwards against the run of play, sent to that near side yet again for Queens Highlanders, but they lack that striking capability from the second person in the rotation. And that's really what it comes down to here in a series where, again, we need the Highlanders to be striking early and threatening earlier on, not letting this one go to the final minute of play. Durham Lords have done everything in their power to keep the Highlanders away from the zone. The musty comes through. No shooter, though. Big clear.
Throw away clear. But they find possession yet again. Simba with a quick shot. Oh, nice idea. Really nice idea from Twinkle Toes, but Durham Lords with a quick rotation back into their defense to get enough bodies in the way to make sure that it does not go any further. Here's Wildfire over the top of one, straight for net save. Open net. No conversion. No conversion. In fact, there's going to be a conversion right down the other end. Tie game.
Oh dear, we had a bit of a misstep here and a large demo in the middle of the field to open that one up, and the Highlanders get the goal that they're looking for to equalize with 3 minutes to play. That can be all it takes right now. As much as we want to see the Highlanders get these neutral game 3-on-3 situations, if they're going to be handed a clear in such a fashion, far be it from them to not jump on that opportunity. And we've still got 1-1 despite the way the goals are scored. The Highlanders with a little life breathed into them.
Did you see how far back Simba went for that play? That's the difference a goal can make to you, especially as someone who has not had the easiest of times here in this series. Wildfire, oh! Like an orangutan swinging from the trees, he fires so beautifully, nestles top pocket. How about that for precision?
Highlight real touch. If you want to talk about constants in the series, Wildfire off the sidewall is a threat that you cannot just merely ignore. Ooh. Here. Kickoff goal for Blucifer, however, and we start to get ruminations of game 1 all over again. The Durham Lords take a little bit of a blow early on, but they shore things up here. 2-goal advantage with over half to play.
The most delicious Pop-Tarts, they require a little bit of heating up, don't they? And boy, oh boy, is this Rocket League delicious. Durham eating, and eating well. Half the game left to run, looking for a fourth. Twinkle Toes takes it away from Lobster. Neutral challenge falls nicely for Blucifer. And finally, oh, like for Mike, as if it couldn't get any worse, the ball seemingly, it was like a force field was erected around his vehicle, Galgan, completely ran away from him. Oh, Wildfire, another beauty.
Having an absolute series, and then some. Lobster initiates, gets 2 defenders to bite, and Wildfire picks up the pieces that nearly could have ended up on the headlight of Lobster there to be saved away, but bar down we go. Wildfire notches yet another one, and the task for the Highlanders as tall as it's ever been in this series. Durham Lords look poised to grab this one in 3. Simba, massive challenge though, and again, all it starts is with these minor victories here for the Highlanders. They've got to find these challenges, find control of the ball, but a giveaway here will force the hand, and a massive yet necessary save for the Highlanders. They're not gone yet, though. Blucifer has snuck from behind the back wall.
Slips off his car gracefully. Oh, lovely cherry pick. And Durham Lords are waltzing their way to yet another victory. It's such a complete performance. This absolutely the best of the lot, despite Highlanders finding a goal for themselves. Durham Lords Esports just a step above.
And with limited time on the clock remaining, Queens Highlanders looking for any way in that they can find, but the Durham Lords have presented the challenge to the table, and it has not been answered just yet. Like for Mike, trying to get something going out of the corner, challenged out. Wildfire beat over the top. Lobster forced to recollect back here to the bottom, centered up yet again, but Durham so responsive on defense, even when the ball's slow and lingering on those lobs. Like for Mike trying to pick up the pace, though. Big challenge as well, and all of these looks are so solid here for Queens Highlanders, but again, it might be too little too late for this squad. They've got everything going, but with 60 seconds to play, 4 goals to find, this ball needs to start teleporting into the back of Durham's net.
Solid looks, yes, but a wooden mallet is not going to bash its way through a steel wall. Wildfire! Oh, he is playing with his food, Gaugan.
I think they've taken a chunk off the steel wall and fashioned themselves a hammer of their own. His Wildfire just seems to have all of the shooting efficiency that you'd want from a full team of 3 jam-packed into 1 octane for this game. Certainly making a stellar effort out of it here. Blucifer and Lobster as well having themselves a game and a series. Their effort cannot go unrecognized, but for the Durham Lords, 1 goal away from round-trip tickets to Brazil here in Game 3.
And that's what they're going to want to avoid here, the Highlanders. Mighty worksman-like clearance to the backboard, helped there by Like for Mike. 100 steel, little boost to work with. Simba Boom, oh, that's hit the backboard again. Wildfire takes it wide. Straight to Twinkle Toes off the top of the box, gets that flick past Lobster, forced back. But look at Wildfire all over the pitch, running the show. That's a weak shot, defended well by Like for Mike. He takes out Like for Mike in spite. Blucifer, little too much time on the ball, but the series has already been decided. In truth, it was decided a long, long time ago. Durham Lords complete their campaign with a 3-0 sweep over the Highlanders.
The expected result, the Durham Lords get their win. Queens Highlanders unable to get it done, and both Queens University Ontario teams unfortunately go home empty-handed, or rather holding the L rather than the W. Unfortunate stuff for both teams. I'm sure that they will come back stronger, however. I always get to this talking point at the end of these series where this experience is better than anything they could want for their development as players in this collegiate area, because being able to get weekly competition against players who are as devoted to this craft as you are will seriously increase your chances of improving. If you can start to make those adjustments and get that regular play going, it's a great look for these players.
And look, it's not to say that their entire game was bad either. Their defense, of course, something to be worked on, but they scored some decent goals. They looked really dangerous, and it was to the credit of the Durham Lords that they were able to hold them out as much as they inevitably did. Right, that's it from myself and Gaugan, but there is still half the show left to run. Captain Atsoka and Pyro J will be commanding you through the next 2 series. We very much hope you enjoy them. Of course, another big shout out for Grissom doing both production and observing today. Be sure to give him all your love. But for myself and Gaugan, we'll bid you goodbye. But you stay put. You stay right there, because on the other side, more Rocket League.
Well, all right. We are well and underway here at the NECC with some more Rocket League. I am your captain this evening, Captain Etsuka, joined on the desk by none other than Pyro J. Pyro, we are well and underway here in game number 1 between Assumption University and JWU, or as I like to call him, JWU.
Whew, are we ever, Cap? And we already have this ball on the goal line, ready to get its way into the back of the net. We're wasting no time here, Cap, but I gotta hear that again before we really get into this. Was that Jay Woo?
That's what I like to call him. And don't get me wrong, people, I get it. Like I feel like as though I get like a mean look whenever I say JWoo. It's JWU, but I like to call him JWoo. It's fun for me. It makes it shorter.
I'm I'm stealing it. I'm running with it. I love it. Yeah, we got JWoo versus Assumption University. Absolutely. And part of the story here, by the way, Cap, is we've got a Titan and a potential Titan Slayer out here. Okay, Assumption sitting at a 6-1 record, almost undefeated, against JWoo White, who still has yet to get their first win. It's going to be a tough hill to climb if you're JWoo.
Yep, this is the moment here. If you're going to get a win on the board, it might as well be against one of the number 1 teams. I don't want to say it's the number 1 team, but, it's up there. It's definitely one of the top-notch teams. So let's go ooh-woo for JWoo.
Okay, see, that I'm not going to steal. That one I'm going to leave to you, Cap.
Oh, yeah. Bringing your daily dose of cringe.
We love that. The Ripper, if that's not enough cringe, we've got a Ripper on the stage trying to get that ball away. I'm just kidding. Shout out to my Ripper mains and all those non-Octane Fennec mains as well. We love you. We love you for being rare, for being unordinary, extraordinary even. A shot coming in, Assumption University Esports. Hey, JWoo containing them to just 1 goal after 2 minutes. I'd say they're hanging in there, even doing more than that.
Yeah, and now you can see once again Avery B trying to put another shot on, but Realm is there to get the save and clear it away as another shot will go on. And now it's Ricky to take a turn on the save count. And right now you can see that JWoo is just really forced in their own half and constantly forced to come up with save after save. And they're not getting any shots on target. So again, this is just great offense coming from the side of Assumption.
Yeah, they seem to be staking their claim, and the more time you give players like Avery at the ball to just establish that control, it gets a little harder for JWoo White to make their moves downfield, but they're still giving it a go. That's a pop shot towards the net. Oh, I thought that was going to slowly make its way to the finish line there, but cutting it off and intercepting beforehand is the Assumption University Esports offense, who has something to work with here. 2 shot takers up and at him, but shot goes by the wayside. Open looks for Assumption University. Maybe a look they're going to want back as JWoo White are marching down the other end.
Yeah, you can't let open net opportunities like that go by and down by the wayside. You have got to take advantage, and to see it kind of go by the wayside due to a double commit, that feels bad. A quick I got it. Any small type of communication, and it goes in. Avery 8, though, doesn't need any communication. They're riding solo on this play, being able to literally dart towards the corner to get the read and get the shot to get yet another goal on the board for Assumption University.
Bang. It was Avery 8 who set up that play where the open net ended up being a miss for Assumption University Esports. But you give Avery 8 the ball to just take the shot instead of set up for the team. That one's being slotted. Avery 8, great performance so far in this game, extending Assumption University's lead to 2 goals. A minute left here for JWoo White, not only to try and close that gap, but to get their first goal on the board, still giving it their best go out here.
Yep, that they are, but the only problem with JWU right now is that they really are confined in their own half, and they're not getting a lot of the possession. Whenever they do get a touch on the ball, it's merely putting it back inside of the Assumption territory, and it doesn't stay there long. Essentially, they're just giving the possession away back to Assumption, and once again, you can see they are running with it there at the midfield, and once again, Assumption going for the shot, as that one gets denied.
Denied again. Assumption University Esports, despite all that, still trying to continue their possession. Shot might find its way in. Rolls off the post. Can't be timed well on the shot as it's still gliding above the crossbar. But as we say all that, and as more attempts are hitting the woodwork, they finally land another in. It's not Avery 8 this time. It is Ty Reed for the third goal.
And there you go. This time it wasn't off the crossbar, but it was off the side post, and we take those. That was one heck of a bank shot coming out from Ty Reed. As now you can see, it will be Assumption University with a 3-0 lead with only 14 seconds left to go. And I think this one is all but over here. As you can see, with the final 10 seconds ticking away, Assumption Esports will be taking game number 1 against JWU.
Ooh, and not without a final call to the wild. Avery 8 trying to land in another. Ty Reed with that assist, forcing all the defense up on the play. There was a 1-0 lead for a long time in this game, and JWU White feeling like, okay, maybe they can hang around this team, but once you get Assumption firing on all cylinders, it is hard to stop them. That much is for sure. As JWU White end in a convincing fashion for Assumption University Esports. It's a game 1 victory for them, and yeah, as we were saying, Cap, this is just a run-of-the-mill show for Assumption University Esports. They're sitting at a 6-1 record right now, trying to extend it to 7-1 tonight. They're doing a dang good job of it so far.
Yeah, that they are. And right now, you know, if you're looking on the opposition here, you know, and you're thinking, you know, you're going into this matchup against Assumption, and it's a difficult trek. You know, you start out in game number 1. Unfortunately, they fell 4-0. But with that to be said, it's still only game number 1. This is a best-of-5 series. I would put that match in the back of my mind and get ready to tackle game number 2. And the most important thing heading into game 2 is that you get on the board first. You want to be able to outpace Assumption and get that early morale in your favor.
Yeah, I agree. Forget about the game beforehand. Try to start off hot and really take it one play at a time. Take it one challenge, 150-50 each moment forward, because if you think about that massive discrepancy in the goal scoring of the last one, it's gonna have you a little wild, and we're feeling wacky, we're feeling wild, Cap. We're on Neon Fields. This is a new one for our competitors, and you know, we're feeling groovy today. I like it. Switching it up for game 2.
Yeah, I'll be honest, this is the first time that I've been on this map for the NECC. You know, I'm not used to being on Neo unless it's Tokyo, but already you can see Realm being able to get the flick and the swish to put it on in, as JWU will strike first here in game 2.
Maybe it's part of JWU's strategy here. I don't know. The Neon Fields, it's their buff here. Either way, it's working out wonderfully for them. You called for it, Cap. You said start off hot, start off quick, nice and early, and they do exactly that with a goal. Now, can they maintain some of that dominance? That's going to be the question for this squad, as Realm does get a good pop shot up to the backboard, but Scythe hoping to control this out, as Assumption University Esports trying to get control down.
Yep, that they are, and for the first time, Assumption University are going to be working from a deficit and a minute of regulatory time gone, and JWU still holding on to this lead, but hold the phone. Assumption nearly being able to get the equalizer there, but no, they hit the woodwork instead.
From the ceiling it goes. Oh my. JWU trying to land on that ball from the ceiling as well. Not getting the touch they're looking, but look at that car control from Avery 8, staying behind the ball, ensuring that every next touch can meet for a positive 50-50 for them to just press that ball downfield. It feels like Assumption University Esports, they're the players who are taking this one challenge at a time. Pressing forward, maybe that's what you got to do when you're playing from behind. A long bomb saved by Avery 8. A big heads-up play from Avery to bat that ball away a second time, saving the ball.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with JWU. They flipped the switch. You know, they're coming into game number 2, and they're forcing Assumption to play an amazing amount of defense here. Again, Assumption is just forced to come up with save after save, much like JWU did in game number 1, and now it seems as though a lot of the possession and a lot of the control is going the way of JWU.
Certainly does. I mean, Avery especially, we saw all the shot taking in the last game. Is this Tyree now? Oh, it's just saved on the goal line, but it finally lands in. That's the 4th or 5th shot so far from Tyree this game. And at a certain point, one of them was going to go in. Scythe does clean up the play, but a good one to put Assumption on the board.
Absolutely, and just before halftime as well. And now Assumption off the kickoff will be going off the backboard. Scythe trying to get the read, but isn't able to get the touch. Realm takes us out of the corner, back towards the mid, and the save comes through for a speedy GG as the pass will connect with Tyree, and Assumption University will go up 1 right at the half.
I mean, Tyree's just on another level right now. You can't let him into his enemy's box because he's just going to create controversy. He's going to cause trouble. He's going to be there for the shot every time, it seems. He's got that V1 decal equipped as well. Come on, one of the regional champions this split. You know he's feeling that champion energy right now. Scythe is a fake pass one defender. No Realm able to take it away, but Assumption University Esports, it feels like they're getting that momentum that they had in game 1, and we know how dangerous that can be.
Absolutely. Now at the 2-minute mark here, you can see Assumption once again force to play defense, but a cherry pick all the way down for Avery 8. Puts it out from the corner, leaving it for Scyther to get now a 2-goal cushion for Assumption.
Oh, what a magnificent touch from Avery there. Just got the end piece of the ball, which, you know, as a statement may seem like it's not much, but a lot of the time that means you are doinking that ball and getting a very cheeky angle on it. Just the angular momentum that they needed on that ball to get the next goal. And Avery wants to form a highlight reel in tonight's match. That double tap not landing in, but sure came close.
It most definitely did, and now you can see Realm bringing out the demos, and that's what I like to see. Jwoo getting a little dirty here, getting a little mean as they bring that physical play, as Realm is able to hit this one out of the corner, and Assumption are being stopped momentarily by the defense from Jwoo.
Okay, Jwoo. And now Assumption University Esports, they're fighting fire with fire. Off in the demolition, it clears the passing lane, and Scythe ready to make that moment count. A great read off of the backboard to extend their lead to 3.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're going up against Assumption and you're sitting in front of the net. And don't get me wrong, that's where you want to be. You want to be in the far post, you want to be in the near post, and worst case scenario, you'll be in the back. But with that being said, you can't sit still. You're literally going to be a sitting duck for Assumption.
That does seem like the case right now. Jwoo White, that is 3 goals down right now. Have to start closing this gap in the final minute, or else they're just not going to get the chance to do it. Tyree, a shot, gonna go wide. Jwoo White staying alive here. But for how much longer? Gotta find a way to get this ball across the field. There's one touch, but punished for their efforts. Speedy taken off of the field. Tyree a couple touches in the air. Not gonna land in the net. Avery, double tap off the corner to turn it around. Jwoo White, they are containing the shot taking from Assumption University Esports. Can they put it the other way as well? Oh, they most certainly can. Infield passing connection lands for Jwoo.
Now, you see, and I was actually getting ready to break this down on what they should do, when they should do it. But you know what? I'm going to shut my mouth on that one. Jwoo executed that one perfectly. 36 seconds on the board. It's not over yet, Pyro.
Not certainly, as the momentum is found. And could this be a shot from Realm? The wave dash into the shot. Oh, it was so close to being enough. But Ty Reed has made so many star plays today. And that save is just another one on the list.
Yeah, at 36 seconds, it wasn't over, but at 15 and an extra goal on the board, I think it just might be. As you can see, Assumption now, off the pass from Tyree down to Scythe, will get the 3 go-ahead lead over Jwoo.
And I love how well-rounded this roster of Assumption University Esports is looking right now. We remember game 1, it was all about Avery 8. It felt like, yeah, Tyree had a couple assists as well. Kind of enabling Avery 8 to make those plays, but a Scythe with a couple goals at the very least. Tyree adding to the shot tally every second of this game. This whole roster, you can see why they have such a winning record this season. and they are doing an exceptional job in this match. Cap now 1 game away from getting a sweep in this match.
And honestly, you know what is a little scary coming out from the side of Assumption? Like, if I was on the other side of the pitch, which by the mean, if I were, I definitely would be afraid. But with that being said, the way they transition so quickly from defense to offense, the way they're able to find each other on a lot of these cherry picks, and it's always a 3-way pass play. It's never just, okay, go long, and I'm going to hit you with the ball and then take a shot. No, they connect with one another all the time, and they're able to really just get a save, get the clear, and then boom, they're already on a fast break immediately. Being able to spread the field that quickly is something to be admired, something to look at. And if you're trying to pay close attention and maybe learn a thing or two, start looking at where they position themselves on the field and how they spread the field between just 3 players, because honestly, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, talk about range on the field that they're able to possess with that spacing and the passing plays. It's keeping the defender's head on a swivel. A complete spin cycle moment right now for Jaewoo White. They've got to find a way to contain those passing plays, maybe start to foresee some of them coming, be able to intercept or interject in those combinations between the team synergy. But from Assumption, it just looks so clean right now. A little way or limited way that it could be broken. But game 3, that's going to be the next chance for them to do it. Sovereign Heights, the newer maps, the newest map actually, aside from the block. One of the new hoops maps in Rocket League is where we take it for game 3. And as we said, Assumption University Esports on match point.
And already Scythe getting on the board. Oh, I'm sorry. How long has it been? 11 seconds off the clock here in game 3. And already Scythe gets a goal on the board for Assumption University.
Yeah, not too much time off of that clock indeed. Assumption University Esports had suffered an opening goal against them in game number 2 from Jaewoo White. Albeit they did answer back very quickly, but they won't have to deal with that this game, not this time around. Jaewoo White, remember very clearly how if they get that train running from Assumption, it's very hard to stop it. So they'll be looking to clap back here very quickly.
Well, let's see if they can clap back enough to make a round of applause or even a standing ovation, because remember, Jaewoo currently down 2 in the series and are on the cusp of being done in here in game 3. But with the counterattacks coming through like that, they may just yet see a game 4.
Oh, what's that? Sorry, Cap. I was just starting the round of applause that appears to be incurring from this quick response out of Jaewoo White. It's what they needed. It's what they needed. Cap, every time you say that Jaewoo need a quick goal, they seem to answer. So I ask you, Captain Soka, what do Jaewoo White need after Assumption get that leading goal again?
They need goalies. You know, I mean, take a look at that. Don't get me wrong, it was a nutty 50-50 pinch coming from Assumption. That's hard to read, but regardless, you have got to be prepared. You have got to have your teammate in your sights, whether it's in your peripheral or whether it's straight ahead. You have got to always be looking to back up your teammate. And if you're not backing up your teammate, you're just leaving the net wide open as well. So it's a feels bad coming from Jaewoo, but if you want my honest opinion, and maybe Captain be capping, but regardless, you have got to be prepared to rotate and cover the net, because Assumption is literally all over it.
They most certainly are. We talked about the range when it comes to the field. That much is limited from Jaewoo White on some defensive moments here. Realm, though, tracking this ball well. He takes it across the court with that clear. Avery, couple extra touches, beautifully followed in the air with that extra dodge. And as we said earlier, Jaewoo White just have to keep on guessing where Assumption are going to take this ball, because it's so difficult to keep up with this quick team. Tyreed off of the wall, Realm kicking to the corner in a bit of a safer direction. Jaewoo White may be trying to control the pace a little more to start to eke their way back in this game. Why eke your way back in the game, though, when you can get a good uppercut, a nice jab here to bring the scoreline back to even?
Yeah, and now we're seeing Jaewoo give Assumption a taste of their own medicine here. Remember, Assumption has been a beast of the 50-50s, especially at the midfield line. But now you see Jaewoo, they're not being hesitant anymore. They are starting to flex a little bit themselves, being able to get a huge dunk at the goal line and getting that goal. Well, not really the go-ahead goal, but at least an equalizer here, 2-2, right before halftime.
They're making game 3 interesting. Still not a win for Jaewoo White in this season. They can change that with a Herculean effort here. A reverse sweep. It all begins now. One play after the other. Denying Avery. Gonna be one of the biggest accomplishments of this team. Realm, a diving save there to kick it out. But they've got to face more.
Yep, that they do. As you can see, this one does go over towards the side. Avery 8 in full retreat, looking to play some defense here. And Realm with a whiff that may be tactical coming out of the corner. And already the counterattack will be underway as possession goes the way of Avery 8. The swish, the flick off the backboard, but the shot just a little bit too hot coming from Assumption.
And listen, they're going to keep on bringing that fiery prowess. I really think so, because they're only getting heated up. But do Jaewoo, they have the extinguisher. And many of their losses, they have been swept. So it would be history in the making for them to take a loss here. But one of those losses, they brought it to game 5. It would take a reverse sweep attempt to make that certain. But still, this game has that realm of possibility. And it is Realm to save that ball. Where are the reinforcements? Somehow it's not needed. Scythe can't score that ball.
I am nearly speechless after that one. I just don't see a reason why that one doesn't go in. It was literally teed up for you. You cannot have gotten it in a better position than that. The goal was actually asking for that one to go in, and you denied it. How dare you? That is very impolite. The goal asks nicely, please score this ball. And what did you do? You denied it and refused. How dare you refuse a beautiful gift like that shot?
Mama never taught no manners. Or that's what it looks like here. As the goal, will it ask again? Will it offer its gracious goal-scoring deeds here in this game, or at least in regulation time? We are 40 seconds away from a potential OT extra time situation. Tyreed, the double. Oh, most certainly it is. Tyreed says, Scythe, if you're not going to take it, I'm going to do it myself. The double off of the backboard for Tyreed.
And again, this seems like one of those plays where no matter what, I think it may have been going in, because we were already looking at the middle. You even mentioned it yourself that there was a player there and waiting to put that one away. And now you can see Assumption having to come back and play some quick defense. But that one's not going to go in. That one's going to get cleared out. And now Jaewoo once again on defense.
Well, they need to switch that up right here, right now. 20 seconds for them to be the difference maker in this series, not go down once again. Tyreed an opening here. The flick, is it off target? It is. Realm ensuring the save as well. A pinch off his own post and trying to control the ball once again. Ball right back to the midfield. Tyreed still a nuisance. He is punished, removed from the play. Can Realm keep this ball alive? Most certainly. And there's the backflip at the last second for Jaewoo White. They can't hang on. Assumption University Esports take the win.
Yeah, a little bit of a flips bad there at the end, but regardless, that was a hard-fought win there in game number 3. A lot more hard-fought than what we had seen previously in games number 1 and 2, and that's what I really love about watching Rocket League. You get to see a lot of these teams improve in real time in the series as the series goes on. Game after game, you just see small little improvements, and the devil is in the details. You got to be able to work those out in order to make big changes, and I think we have seen that improvement in JWU tonight within those games, but at the end of the day, that win goes to Assumption. They were on top of their game from the get-go, from the jump, and from the first kickoff. So once again, massive congratulations to Assumption on taking the sweep here tonight.
Yeah, well done to Assumption. It's almost hard to pick a player of the game as well, because Avery got this team off to the hot start that they needed to, and Scythe had a pop-off game too, but I think Tyreed was really the cornerstone throughout the whole match. Had the assists for Avery in game number 1, had great shot counts in game number 2, and seemed to just close it out in game 3. So Tyreed, exceptional job in this matchup. It is very clear to me, at least, that this team has a distant future to go, and a very successful one, Captain, as we round out week 8 here for NECC. Still, though, I believe another match to go.
Oh, absolutely. We do, as a matter of fact, have another match to go. But guess what? We're not... Right away, I hit my mic just now. You seen it live. That's what happened. I just punched it because it was in my face. Regardless, we do have another match underway right after this short break, so do not go anywhere because we have more Rocket League mic punching action for you right here at the NECC.
Welcome on in, one and all. We are here. NECC action. Cap and we've already got one match down. Cap, we got one to go. Illinois State University, the MBU Spartans. Two teams that are pretty tied up. 4-3, 4-2. Should be a good one.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you know, the fact that we're just starting off into the season, not necessarily just starting, but it's still not playoff time yet. So it's not necessarily a lot on the line, but this is going to be a huge win for either side here, just so that way they can make that spread a little bit wider. You know, the win to loss ratio, both teams are really going to need this win, so you can expect them to be bringing their A game.
I mean, that's it, right? It's week 8 of NECC. It's time. You've put the reps in. Now, this isn't training anymore. This is an exhibition. This is the season match. It is the time to go. A couple of these wins from both teams were forfeit wins, but with that being on both sides, it's kind of similar on both ends. Their real and true records are kind of 2-3 and 2-2. So both still kind of middle of the pack when it comes through this season. And they've all been a lot of best of fives all the way to game 5. So we're in for a heated battle one way or the other. Cap, we had a sweep last game. I don't think that's the case this time.
Nah, probably not. I can't see it ending in a sweep. But with that being said, you know, for their overall record, a forfeit win is still a win. So I'll give them credit. You know, just for argument's sake, as we get game at number 1 well and underway. Already nearly 20 seconds gone off the clock, and both teams just really scrounging for the ball here, not really getting possession one way or the other.
Yeah, we've got Illinois State University on the blue side here, MBU Spartans on orange. And we're already almost a minute gone by, so it's seeming even as ever, as we've concluded already. Squads are doing their best to get their footing. It's typically game 1 action, how it is here, but it's the Champions Midwest as well, Cap. And as we had kind of the emergence match last game, I'm expecting some big style mechanics. I want to see some aerial plays. I want to see the resets, the double taps, all the good stuff here.
Oh yeah, crusty musty flick every now and again, and who doesn't like a flippery doodah flip reset? But nearly MBU Spartans will put this one on and in after a second try, thanks to Tendo being able to get the first goal of game number 1 for MBU.
I can't get over that save from CG. The in and out as the ball is laid up right under the crossbar. That takes some guts. So well played from ISU to survive that front as long as they did, but MBU Spartans, they still won out in the victory there. It's the battle, though. There's still a war to be had as ISU are looking to rival back.
And out from the midfield, here comes CG, but does get out 50-50 thanks to Tendo. And look at this one, looking like it was going on for a moment, but it does get cleared out by Sith. Now the midfield goes up high. Tendo, again, just applying that pressure onto Illinois State University as they continue to struggle to get out of their own half.
Still trying here. Shot almost laid up. CG able to stop that ball on a dime. So important for saving time for his other teammates to get back in unison. Keep that defensive rotation intact. So far, so good. And CG has really been trying to set up some solo plays for himself this game. I see the tendencies, the willingness to make some big plays on this field, just hasn't gotten the right opportunity, the right spacing on the field, as ISU are trying to make their own offensive stint back. Ball comes up the ceiling. It's dangerous territory for the Spartans as they give it up back to CG, but he hits it the other way.
Yeah, right now I gotta say the Spartans rotation is making me nervous. It's an aggressive one, and it's one that is not unorthodox. You see it happen a lot, but at the same time, it just makes me a little nervous. They are not rotating wide. Their rotations are very tight. They're keeping all 3 players inside relatively one section of the map, and they're rotating quickly. It's great if you want to get that fast, quick rotation and quick transitions. However, it's a high-risk, high-reward maneuver because when you're positioned so closely, all it really takes is one solid clear to cover a lot of ground, and you're really lacking in some positions when you're just packed together so tightly in those rotations.
Can be tough, but ISU with that in-the-face defense of MBU Spartans have still been shut out in this game. With the minute 30, it could be a full game shutout in favor of the Spartans as they bring this ball the other end. It is a tee up here and a pickup there from Larry, trying to bring it in field, dump it off to a teammate. Nobody there though in position. NBU Spartans, lucky for them, they don't need that second goal. Not quite yet. There's a big clear, reaches Sith. He counteracts that at the midfield line.
Now, you see, this is a tempered Spartans team. They don't need that extra goal. I do. You see, because I'm a very panicky Rocket League player, I need to have at least a 2-goal lead at all times. NBU Spartans, not so much, but it looks like they might get it, but no. Flash is there to get the save and clear it away, and with under a minute left to go, Illinois State still trailing by 1.
Hard to believe this is still a 1-point game. We've seen a lot out of these players, and maybe especially with the tee up, Larry able to finish the play. Sees that pass from a mile away. Perfect positioning for Spartans to score a second.
Oh, absolutely. They make those. Larry being able to hit that one in. And then Lionad. I'm sorry. Larry definitely getting the credit for the goal there, but Lionad was the one that made that play. Literally being able to get that double touch off the backboard and drop it perfectly in front of the net. That was a fantastic pass coming from Lionad, as now they do get that go-ahead 2-goal lead and a 2-goal cushion over Illinois State with just 30 left to go.
It's fantastic work here, but ISU looking to combat their own effort. Unfortunately, that's a big miss. Illinois State University, with the time that's remaining here, that feels like their one and only chance to grab a game here, at least make this one competitive. CG maybe a last opportunity. Triple tap still won't do it. ISU in these final moments of game number 1 cannot buy a goal. They do their best on the goal line, hitting the ball as many times on the backboard that they can, and a flashy pop is probably the only way I can describe that one. It'll give them something to walk away with.
Yeah, might as well. You're telling me Flash getting flashy there at the end. Being able to get that flick right off the rubber, right off the wheels to get the consolation goal. And honestly, it's better to have it than to not. I can't stand, personally, whenever I see a team that goes into the next match and, they just kind of give up on the first one. They'd rather just have the 0 scoreline. It's always better to have at least 1 goal on the board than not, because you don't want to go into a game number 2 in a score drought.
No, you certainly do not, folks. But we saw those 6 players on the field. Let's take a closer look at 3 of them. Illinois State University lineup, all settled and ready. That flash goal that you saw there was from the junior, majoring in recreation administration here at Illinois State University. CG, a freshman in cybersecurity. I got a background there. I got respect. And Sith, rounding out with the undeclared freshman. Strong unit here, Cap.
Oh, absolutely. Now let's take a look at their opposition for tonight and see what they are bringing to the table from the side of MBU. And you can see here, Tendo is a senior majoring in business administration. And then you have it's Linad. We're going to figure this out one pronunciation attempt at a time. A freshman also majoring in cybersecurity. And then Larry, winky face, freshman majoring in business. This is a more younger team, but they have the senior Nintendo to guide these youngsters to greatness.
And sometimes in Rocket League, it's the young guns that are trying to lead the way, take the torch. So that could be the way, especially Larry had a fun fact here. In SSL and every extra mode, aside from Snow Day, Larry, I stand with you. Not a Snow Day fan myself, so kick it to the curb, man. You don't need it. We take it to Forbidden Temple for game number 2. And with ISU and Spartans taking the stage.
Absolutely, and you can see Flash already being able to get that ball out of their own half and back into Spartan territory as Sith now goes up high but can't get the 50 off of Tendo. And now Illinois once again back on the defense. Here comes Larry, but it's not going to be on target. That goes down and by the wayside, and Illinois State will now take possession.
Illinois State University, yeah, they got a garbage goal at the end of game number 1, but they're looking for something a little more in the earlier fashion of regulation time. It really feels like they've been shut out so far in this series that NBU Spartans now have a 1-0 lead in. They want to make their mark a little earlier on. Maybe they'll be able to do that. So far, they've been able to contain the Spartans, though, as CG seeming pretty calm on the goal line catching that ball.
Yeah, they are, and I really like this. This is, like I said in game number 1, this is a very tempered team. They don't get nervous. They stay cool, calm, and collected. And coming from the midfield, not missing a beat, Tendo, oh so speedy and accurate, being able to hit that ball dead center of the net. And once again, we see the Spartans with a 1-0 lead over Illinois State.
Cap, you mentioned that the Spartans' rotations was giving you a little hesitation. Despite that goal, I couldn't agree more. Larry was cutting inside and off of the rotation just to poke and prod the ball or even bump the ball handler from ISU. It worked. It just made me a little nervous. It's very aggressive, but hey, a player and a team that is confident in their ways enough to pull off something like that, it works in a situation. It certainly does, but Spartans, they got to be ready on the defensive. ISU, they were coming with a force on that counterattack, but quickly it's taken the other way for the Spartans.
It is, and this is a great counterattack right here. I mean, they were able to spread the field a decent amount, and unfortunately for Illinois State University, MBU managed to recover and get back in time and get back into defensive positioning. As now Tendo trying to clear this one out, but the 50-50 coming through will send this one right on back to the midfield, and Illinois State just cannot get it to go on offense.
Yeah, they need something that isn't that 0-second goal in game number 1. They want something to show for in this series. Of course, they've had good looks, and they even had an open net with 30 seconds to go in the last game. If they can just close on one play, it can be that one stroke of confidence that this team can work off of. But so far, no dice as the Spartans make their way into their opponent's box. They don't get that shot. It's challenged early, smartly, by ISU, and Sith looks to sail this ball across the field. Can't necessarily do that. The drop back pass between the Spartans is in flux. That pass not connected on well, but they're able to recover and send it back downfield.
Yeah, the Spartans have to be careful not to do too much here. Again, we saw at the midfield that Larry went for a back pass, trying to be a little extra, and it almost costed them dearly. Luckily, they were able to recover from that as well, but you got to make sure that you don't bite off more than you can chew. You do have a lead, but a 1-goal lead is not that unlikely to come back on.
It is going to be a little uncomfortable here, but Spartans are making it work. Sailing that ball once again downfield, and almost a setup from Leonard. Next in rotation, sending it around the corner, still creating controversy around the goal line. ISU, they're able to make their way around and flash one defender to beat Sith. The next shot taker, that goes wide. Again, an open opportunity that they just can't be clinical on. They won't give up on the possession, though. The pass off the backboard, Sith with the shot. Flashback in rotation, puts it where the defenders aren't. Finally, ISU on the board.
There you go, and this was perfect rotation here. Look at this, the 1, 2, 3 give and go off the backboard. You send one in, one comes out, and one goes in. That is the type of rotation that we're used to seeing. Very fundamental, and it works. The Spartans, they like a more speedy rotation here, and it pays off on the kickoff. Larry being able to cheat up here off the kickoff to get the go-ahead goal over Illinois State.
Oh, and you see by the thinnest of margins, Larry beats Sith. It all depends on which way you're driving, what way you're turning. Sometimes you can play it a little slower so that you can save a shot like that, or you can play it quicker to be there off the first touch. CG takes a page out of the handbook of the Spartans.
Yep, that they do. I mean, easy come, easy go, and being able to learn off the fly, say, hey, they're cheating up, and they were able to get a goal off of it. Well, maybe we could do that too, and they do. Illinois State ties this one back up at 2 apiece. MBU Spartans now with the ball.
Makes them have a taste of their own medicine here. How can ISU work off of a second equalizer here? Spartans able to respond so quickly, and can they do it again? Oh, baby, Leonard coming in there. Almost with a rocket of a shot, but it wasn't ripped hard enough to get through and tear through the ISU defense. A defense that is very keen on keeping the scoreline at least at 2 apiece here, as they've had to work from behind almost all series long.
Yeah, and this is where you have to be careful. 30 seconds before you go into OT, and neither of these teams are really playing to get the winning goal. They're playing to avoid losing that winning goal. So they're making sure that they don't get scored on, they don't make a mistake, and we're seeing an abundance amount of caution. A lot of respect coming out from both sides here, not to try and give away this goal for free until we hit OT.
Can they do just that? CG off the stage here. Maybe an opening for the Spartans. CG with the respawn does get a touch, and Sith will deny the third man rotation for Spartans to get any look at a scoring chance. We take to overtime.
Yep, that we do for the first time in the series. We are heading into extra seconds as already the demo from CG finds Tindo on the wall, and now already the fast break play is underway from Illinois State. But MBU able to put at least one pass play attempt down, as this one will go back towards the mid. And now Larry is going up against two defenders, does get beat out, back to the mid. CG now once again putting the Spartans on defense.
I see this is such a different game for them to have more confidence working into this overtime rather than the late stages of the game where they had to make up a 2-goal difference. Now they can start to be in the driver's seat, I think, and Flash doing that very quickly, getting into the mix on that play and working out exactly what they need to turn this game around. Luckily for them, Larry can get that touch, and it comes back to the midfield. I think that Sith is ready for this ball. First touch over one. Second touch almost past the second. CG with the shot, and there it is. We're going to tie up the series as Illinois State University find a way to score in a minute in overtime.
That was a huge 50-50 at the midfield, and unfortunately the player was even off screen after the play had been made. It was a beautiful 50-50 at the mid. It gave Sith the opportunity to come through and get that touch off of the backboard, and then CG to clean it up to get the go-ahead goal. It was a 3-person play, but you wouldn't see that from the replay. You would have to go back maybe like 1 or 2 seconds to see the breakaway touch there at the midfield, that 50-50 that literally just opened up that opportunity for Illinois State to get their first win on the board.
I think it's a good exhibition. It's a good exhibit of kind of what I think this team has been trying to do, is take a very well-rounded approach to a team that had their number in game number 1. Despite that last-second goal, was really a shutout in game number 1. No offensive production really for CG and company to get their hands dirty with. And now in game 2, they found that through synergy, through that infield passing, through those strong 50-50s and the quick follow-ups as well. You mentioned earlier, Captain, that 1-2-3 play, because of every player playing the rotation very tightly, getting right into the mix. That is part of why ISU has been able to take a front in this series. And so they'll tie it up 1-1 as we march our way into game 3.
Yep, that we do. Tied in the series, and now the tiebreaker underway. Who is going to be able to get that boost of morale and take the lead in the series? Is already looking to take the lead in game number 3. Illinois State University managed to find the back of the net first.
Love the precision and shot taking from ISU. I mean, every time I see these guys score, there's a goal line defender. There's somebody there, and what a contrast it's been, where the first open shot we saw from Illinois State in game 1, an open net was skied, completely missed. I cringed at it. I was like, oh God, are these makeups of the ISU team, are they shot takers? Well, game 2 and game 3, it's a different story. So far, they're slotting them, and if they can continue it, it's going to be trouble for the Spartans.
It very well could be. As you can see, CG trying to go off the backboard. Now Larry with the cleanup. Flash coming up at the midfield, has one player in the mid, but the 50-50 sends this one screaming towards the other side of the pitch, and a huge demo from Larry onto Flash will give possession to Linad. Gets past one defender, but can't get past two, and now this is just a real battle going on at the midfield here.
I thought for a second Leonid was going for a freestyle play. He had the ball up for about 5 seconds, and if he turned 180 degrees, he would have been going for the musty flick, turn into a double tap flip reset. No, it's just another ball in the hands of Illinois State University. While the Spartans are taking their time and playing with their food, ISU, they came to play.
Yeah, that they have. And now finally we're seeing the crossbar work in the favor of Illinois State. It's not bouncing off, not going towards the side. It's going off the crossbar and in. Sometimes the crossbar can be your best friend, and other times it can be your worst enemy. Right now, Illinois State definitely making friends with the crossbar as they get the insurance goal, that 2-goal cushion over MBU.
It's all about that friendly roll here on the soccer stadium, and well, you can certainly get that off the woodwork, be it the post or the crossbar. Illinois State University working well off of their shot taking that appears to be just enough. And Sith, I heard freestyle. He said, all right, I got a ceiling pinch followed up with a shot for you. That one's still denied, though, by Leonad, working that off of the corner and following this down to the ground. It's a good pop shot, but it just sets up Flash. It activates him to put that ball off of the ceiling. A lot of top ceiling work here coming out from ISU, keeping Spartans with their head on a swivel. They've got to stay on the edge of the seat if they want to keep up with the play, keep up with the game. CG does just that with the save.
And you know, I like that from ISU. They're trying to pull the old up and over. Sometimes it works, but right now, I don't know what's more impressive. ISU's consistency of constantly being able to take to the skies and come off the ceiling, or is it the defense from MBU that has constantly been able to put a stop to those attacks time and time again, as now MBU is on offense?
Oh man, MBU Spartans, as quickly as they do transition to offense, it seems they give it away just as rapid. And certainly that's how the shot comes in, forcing 2 defenders out from Spartans. The third of Leonad able to kick it away enough, but CG losing touch of that ball. It ends up with a setup though to Flash. If you can read this double, he's got a shot slotted, and that's exactly what he has off of a couple miscues from the Spartans.
This is why patience is a virtue. Because of that. If you've ever heard your parents say, maybe you should be a little bit more patient. Have you heard anybody ever tell you, you should be a little bit more patient? That's why. They didn't go for the immediate double touch. They didn't go for something nutty. They just sat and they waited for their opportunity. One defender goes by. Oh, there goes another one. And before you know it, you got yourself an open net and a 3-goal lead.
They certainly do. And you know, that's the thing about ISU in the position that they're in right now. They had a 2-goal lead. They can play the patient play style. They can play for the plays that they know they can score on. Spartans, they're a little more rushed. They're a little more chaotic on the goal line. And another goal will show for just that.
Yeah, and these pass plays are absolutely phenomenal. They're connecting every single time. And it's never really clustered. It's always across the pitch. That's where they're finding one another. They're able to get the long passes down, which honestly is a little bit more impressive than just a quick, fast break. Being able to really formulate those plays, that's some big brains right there. And nearly MBU being able to formulate a double touch, but no, that one's going to go off the wayside. But right now, ISU looks like a completely different team than what we saw in game number 1. Pyro, is this the same team that nearly got shut out in game 1?
The same team that their first scoring opportunity was an open net miss? I don't know. It may have been one of those hand your controller to the older brother situation. Either way, Illinois State University, and I've seen some of these players on the field before. CG in particular stands out to me as someone who has definitely proven themselves when it comes to being competitive on the field. It's just about warming up. It's about proving that you can be hot, you can be on fire once you get to that stage. And I think these players have indeed achieved that flow state. CG expressing that with that shot there.
Yeah, and you can see MBU, again, that aggression has worked out for them with the pass, but it's high risk, high reward. When it does pay off, it's going to pay off huge, but when you get punished, it looks ever so devastating, much like a 5-0 deficit right now in the favor of Illinois State with just 40 left to go here in Game 3.
Yeah, and you know, for MBU Spartans, this is a situation to just play every ball as it comes to you. You kind of want to work into this next game with some plan forward, some strategy of how to beat Illinois State University. And if you can walk away with a goal, that's great, but it's about calming down here. This team has looked pretty frantic, especially on the defensive end in these last go-arounds, and turning something over, turning a new leaf over with a goal on the board here from Larry, that should be some indication that they've got a shot still in this competition in the next game.
They do, and that's exactly what you want to do. Honestly, I would have been more disappointed if they hadn't scored a goal. Just the fact that they were able to get that one on the board, the drought is officially over. The drought is the hardest thing to break, and it's better to break it here in a game where you have already, you know, tasted defeat, more or less, than to have it still be in that drought when you start in a brand new, fresh game.
Well, there you have it. A fresh game is still what we're going to have, but the Spartans able to work off of this game with something to show for rather than nothing. It's a bit of a flip-flop from the game one where Spartans had a convincing lead that, well, ISU were able to score a garbage goal at the end of it. This time around, it's flipped. Spartans able to put one on the board against the 5 of Illinois State University. So it's looking like they're getting better with every game, Cap. I'm almost afraid for the Spartans. If they continue to trend upwards, it's going to be a pouncing in game 4.
Yeah, if the Spartans are going to want to make a comeback against this team, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to change up their pace. The aggression worked there in game number 1. It hasn't worked since. Start slowing down just a tidbit. You don't even have to come all the way down. Keep that semi-energy. I like it. It's nice. It is. I like the veracity. It is definitely a benefit to your play style, but just slow it down a little. Be a little bit more methodical. Make better shot selections. Make better pass selections. It doesn't always have to be a rush. We seen it right there, point blank. 2 defenders jumped at a ball immediately, leaving the net wide open, and it was literally just an open goal. And that shouldn't happen. If you just wait maybe a split second more, you can really adjust yourself to make sure that when you go for the ball, you're actually going to get a touch on it and you're going to clear it out.
There is a true dichotomy between the pace of play right now between Illinois State and MBU, which is what you're drawing out here, Cap. It's been very quick and chaotic. On the side of the Spartans, not so much from Illinois State University. And we are starting off with a bang here. There's no doubt about that. You can't ask for better for Spartans to bring this series back in their favor than a kickoff goal.
Oh, absolutely. Lionad coming through with the finesse, being able to get the 50-50 off the wall and put that one on and in off the backboard. A nice double touch to start things off quickly for the Spartans. 6 seconds gone and already a 1-goal lead.
I am reacting to the desert here, Cap. We are in Deadeye Canyon. It is nice, sunshiny, and almost reminiscent of the desert of Las Vegas in which I reside at the moment. So it's like a hometown advantage if I were here on the field, but instead it's the players, and it's on the onus of the Spartans here to stay alive and take this to Champions Field game number 5 with a win here. That was ISU. Working with that match point. You'd think if they scored 5 goals in the last game, they can get 1 here and soon as they work up stage and set something up. CJ off of the backboard can't get that second one to find a teammate.
Yeah, well, they're able to find Larry going all the way downfield, nearly being able to find the back of the net, but instead they find the dreaded post. Not being able to get that one to go as now back to the midfield goes the ball and back into side Illinois State territory. As now the aggression coming from the Spartans does get played a little bit out towards the side, and that was a great touch coming from CJ to put this one into Spartan territory.
Oh, Leonard sees Larry right there, and he does get it across. Bit of a waterfall. The ball won't come across the face of the goal, so no shot takers there, but Tendo ready for it on the sidewall. Larry bounces it right off the side again. It forces ISU defenders to jump and look a little bit chaotic there. Nobody saw this pass coming. Nobody was ready for it. But Tendo, he's there to clean up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That whiff was tactical. The one that we just saw coming in from the side from Lionad, being able to force both defenders to jump. That was a tactical whiff. Tactical whiffs are a real mechanic, folks, and that's how it is executed right there. Spartans are now sitting with a 2-goal cushion over Illinois.
Couldn't agree with you more. There's famously a 0-second goal that version 1 scored against Gen G in the quarterfinals of the last regional, where they send one player to be the shot faker, a tactical whiff, if you will, and then send a second player to go up and take the shot on a more or less open net. It's just, you know, you got to expect the unexpected when you're playing against teams that are creative like that. And, hey, the Spartans are utilizing it effectively. Can't use it too often, though, or else you'll get your cards red every time. Flash trying to bring this around for ISU. Maybe up the creativity ante, maybe get a little more patient, a little more cohesive. Those passing plays almost connecting, but CJ has to work behind the ball here to try and keep the possession going.
That is the one you score. Tendo somehow is able to get that save and clear it away, but that was a perfect pass play, followed up by yet another. This is where we see those examples. What is truly better going on here? Is it the offense that are constantly connecting on a lot of these shots attempts, or is it the defense who somehow managed to keep these great plays out of the net, but not forever? CJ comes through to get the first goal of the game for Illinois State.
I mean, Illinois State, they just won't quit. How long did that possession go on? And how many times, how many chances did Spartans provide for ISU at some point? Spartan needs to find a way out of their own half, let alone their own third, and stop the pouncing from ISU because they're going to continue to crash the boards if they're allowed to. Sith missing out on that boost steal is really going to limit them on holding onto that possession, and that ball should land in. It's so amazing how one single lack of a boost steal can propel one player to take it coast to coast.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if I'm nothing in Rocket League, I am a boost starver. I am a boost fiend. However, with that being said, you never, ever, ever go boost over ball. You always go ball over boost. Let me be clear. That is a disclaimer. When we talk about boost stealing, you have to have that little tiny disclaimer at the bottom that just says ball over boost, just to make sure. But it is one of the more effective tactics, and some players have gotten so good at it, and some teams, not only are they able to rotate, for the 100 boost, but they also do a really good job at farming the pennies, being able to farm the 12 boost touchpads, and right now, a Lionad just being able to farm these goals from Illinois State.
Just when you think that there is going to be a comeback for ISU, the Spartans rival back and ensure a comfortable lead. It is Leonad once again. Can't stop calling this guy's name because he's simply everywhere. The Spartans, they want that game 5. They want that chance still to win this series against a neighboring team. ISU 4-3 on the season. NBU Spartans 4-2. And they are looking like they'll get that chance unless we get some resurgence from ISU.
And then not to mention, what is this give and go? What is this back and forth between these two teams? All of a sudden, Illinois State is down 3 goals when they literally were just popping off with a 4-goal deficit against the Spartans in game number 3. Now, all of a sudden, literally the roles get reversed, and now they are looking down the barrel of a 4-goal deficit, depending on that shot, but it does get saved and cleared away. I'm just flabbergasted about how quickly things can change between these two teams.
Riding a seesaw over here, Captain. I'm not sure which way it's gonna swing in game 5, but I'm here for the ride otherwise. Illinois State University, yeah, now they're on the flip side here looking for a consolation prize or maybe something to work with more than that. An incredible read from Tendo. I don't know how he knew where that ball was going, but he limits the shot, taking the scoring of ISU once again. Firing back as well as Larry. The shot won't go, but Spartans proving their resiliency in this match, and with single digits left on the clock, it's over. It's all a formality. Illinois State University, NBU Spartans, it's time to prepare for game 5.
Yep, that it is, and I got to tell you, the Spartans' defense was absolutely insane in that round. I could not believe how many times they come up with those clutch saves time and time again. Their offense, true, they came through to win the game with a 3-goal deficit, but I don't know, something about the defense coming from NBU, I feel like they definitely changed the way that they played, because before, in games 1 through 3, you really didn't really see too many clutch saves coming from the side of the Spartans. As a matter of fact, you didn't really see them play a lot of that defensive rotation or even defensive positionings. We've even made comments about the fast breaks coming from the opposition to find an open net downfield against the Spartans. But now it seems as though they are shifting their focus, and you can tell they are starting to play a lot more defense, and it's paying off.
They are, yeah. Spartans, they're comfortable in moments when they're being attacked, which really showcases that resiliency, and the counterattacks just paving the way for this team to punish ISU again and again. We think about that one play when the ball was laid up in the corner. It was a great chance again for Illinois State University to continue their possession, try and whittle away the resources of their opposition. They missed that boost grab. The shot taker grabs it, goes all the way down the field, and scores. So here we go, folks. Game number 5. We take it to Utopia. That's where we'll decide things here. Illinois State University and MBU Spartans. The winner of this takes the series.
Well, Spartans wasting no time here to try and get on the offense early, as they're going to put this one towards the net. CJ's there to get the clear and the save. As now, once again, the Spartans are pushing that midfield aggression, trying to take dominance early at the midfield line. And now Lionad again putting this one off the backboard. But do you see this, Pyro? All the demolitions now coming from the Spartans.
Hey, game 5 has to start with fireworks, and I didn't see a show, so the players are doing it themselves. Fine, sparks fly in the moments that matter here, and that's obviously the way they want to start things. That's fine. That's fine with me. The goal scoring, though, that's the important explosion that could come from Leonad. Shot from the sidewall, denied by CG. Flash now the lone defender as he's working that off the backboard. Smart to crawl up there and deny maybe a backboard pass. CG now going to do the same. Lofts up high for that clear.
Yeah, didn't have a lot of boost to follow it up, unfortunately. Sith now trying to get the job done at the midfield, and now finally we see Illinois State with some offensive presence, but already they're retreating oh so quickly and didn't even try and challenge MBU before they were able to make it to the midfield. I'm thinking maybe Illinois State should take a page from the Spartans book and maybe add some aggression to their rotation.
Maybe that is the case here. Still 0-0 though, so who needs to learn from who? Sith wanted to teach Larry a lesson, but Larry, a stronghold defender, a brick wall on the goal line, won't allow it, but will Tendo. Sith with the double jump, and that's all it takes for the opening goal.
Yeah, nothing like a good up and over to find the back of the net. Look at Sith, full control here, and then with only one player back, Tendo unable to get up in time, and that was literally just a soft floater going all the way into center net, getting Illinois State the 1-goal lead here in Game 5.
Yeah, Illinois State already amending against the mistakes that they made in the last game. Sure, they had a lot of possession and chances and shots, but they never were able to close that finishing factor. Always a miss. Sith, that's a nutty pass from the backboard. The shot not able to be there. Spartans had already recovered on the play, but they're starting to prove why they can make those possessions actually count. Putting points on the board and early is a good indication for the long run of this Game 5.
And we're approaching halftime quickly, and the Spartans have yet to find a goal here in Game 5. Keep in mind all of the times so far in this series that these games have been decided by just 1 point. You are going to want to get on the board and get on the board fast, as now we are officially past that halftime mark.
What will it take for the Spartans to score? They were comfortable in their defenses and prioritized counterattacks the last time. Leonad trying to find Larry on that counterattack there, but the pass, is broken up. Maybe that's what Illinois State have been focused on, to deny Spartans of the shot taking they had in the last game. Deny those breakaways with the interjections of the midfield. There's yet another one on the attempted passing play. CG wants a double tap here. He does force the hand of Leonad off the defensive. It takes him off the goal line. Tendo in an awkward situation, demoed off of his position, and CG taking his time, keeping the possession. ISU still with the lead, and a comfortable one for the moment. 1-0, we all know could be extended here. No, Sith denied as well.
Right now, I'm loving the boost management coming from ISU. We've made comments earlier about them constantly getting boost off by the Spartans, but now they're doing a lot with a little, as Sith is able to find the back of the net, only using 50 boost, and still had 50 to spare. Illinois State now go up 2-0 here in Game 5.
Well, sometimes it's just too much. I mean, Spartans, they were able to work from the counterattacks last time, but yeah, when you look at the good boost management from Illinois State, it's tough to stay alive on reserve. So, Spartans, what resources can they use now? Whether it comes in the way of demolitions, fast breaks, or maybe a chance there to force a double commit from Illinois State University, they gotta get something working, and working quick.
Well, let's see if they can get the job done with just over a minute left to go. The clock is ticking away on the Spartans here in Game 5 as they try and go off the backboard, but it does get cleared out by Flash. Goes the opposite direction. CG trying to get the read, but gets 50'd out back towards the midfield. Tendo is able to get the touch, has a player in the mid, but look at the aggressive defense coming from Illinois State, breaking up these passes before they can even get the read.
That's so important here. Don't let the Spartans get any confidence on some of these plays that they could be working up on. Sith has a quick challenge on the wall side. Get the pass down to CG. There it is. Could be the dagger. A 3-goal lead with 30 to go. It's going to take a miracle and more for the Spartans to come back now.
Sith had probably one of the dirtiest steals I think I've seen all night. Literally went up high on the wall, took the ball away, and then still was able to feed the pass. Sith, you're insane.
Hey, like Superman, takes to the skies and just makes that entire domain his. Marks his territory with that steal, with that passing play. And Illinois State University feels like they're just wrapping around this Coliseum like they're taking a victory lap. CG, he wants to steal this off the ceiling as well. Tendo trying to create space, and CG says, yeah, I'm not gonna give you the time of the day. Sorry, but this series, it's ours. The timer goes down, and despite the formalities of the 0-second antics, Illinois State University, they fend off the comeback from the Spartans. They take the win, and they defeat them to extend their record to 5-3.
That they do, and not only did they take game number 5, but they took it in a shutout. They refused to give the Spartans any offensive prowess whatsoever. They denied them every single time, and that ended up being a nil game coming from the side of the Spartans. Couldn't get a single goal to find the back of the net, and I got to tell you, right now, coming from the opposition on that one, it was just, I would hate to say that it was a one-sided game 5, but I don't know what else to call it.
Well, we saw some one-sided games this series, didn't we, Cap? We saw a 5-1 in Game 3 and then a 4-1 in Game 4. It was that seesaw, that roller coaster. We didn't know what to expect, but hey, apparently strong starts mean you've got endurance to go all the way. And the team that broke out quick in these last few games were the ones to mainstay their dominance. That goes to Illinois State University. At the end of the day, Cap, there are winners in Week 8 of NECC.
Yep, that they are. But with that being said, I think that's going to wrap things up here for you and I tonight here at the NECC. We've had ourselves some great series, and again, that last one was definitely one to remember, going all the way into Game 5. Once again, GG's to ISU being able to take that one out in 5 over the Spartans. So, once again, thank everybody for joining with us here this evening. Thank everybody behind the scenes. Grissom, I'm talking to you. Thank you for our producers making all of the magic happen, and of course, thank you, Pyro J, for co-casting with me this evening. But with that being said, that's going to wrap things up for us here at the NECC. So have a wonderful rest of your night, and we will see you next time.